first thing in the business of a brand, when you make a product, when you make an idea, today you don't have to make a toothpaste to create a brand. You can have an idea, you can have an app, you can have a facility, you can have a human being who is a brand, like an Amitabh Bachchan or a Sachin Tendulkar. They don't produce products, they are brands by themselves. So how do they become brands? What happens? Now, when people give birth to a child, the first thing that you do is you visualize a value system for the child. What is my child going to grow up to be? Is he going to be successful? Is he going to be philosophical? Is he going to be creative? Is he going to be an engineer? Is he going to change the world? All that is in the future, but that's your dream. And you start fixing the child with a part of your dream in terms of your expectation. So you give him a name, or give her a name. And in that name, when you select the name, are the values that you expect the child to grow up with. So you absolve yourself of responsibilities of teaching the child or giving him an education by putting him into an institution like this. So an institution like this that takes over the responsibility that parents have of teaching the child. The child is now has three patterns: what the parents are trying to teach him, what his school is trying to teach him, and what he's trying to learn on his own, which is experiential. But when he is growing up, every night, there used to be a tradition in this country that when a child is been put to sleep, he's told a story. So all of us grew up hearing stories mostly about the value of your name. What does it mean? How do you translate it? Is it courageous? Is it compassionate? Is it generous? Is it brave? Is it wise? Is it whatever it is? So the parents and the grandparents who sit and put into the child and his subconscious the stories that you tell him when he is sleeping or while he is sleeping or trying to sleep is actually the single most important education in his life. And we don't realize that. Today we take a shortcut and put the child in front of a TV and say, watch cartoon channel. What is cartoon channel going to tell him about his name and his philosophy and his vision and his destiny? You tailor your stories to imbibe in the child a value system which he has to live by for the rest of his life. You tell him the ability to hear and therefore tell stories. Everything in life, if you have to convince somebody about something, if you have to have an interaction, if you have an idea which you want to present to a whole room full of people, if you cannot tell a story, nobody will buy it. Because numbers don't move people. Emotions, human values, acts of great courage do. So where does the child get all that? Not from books, because they've stopped reading. Not from Google, because it doesn't tell you stories. Not from school, because there is no storytelling session in school, except for the creative arts. So how do you grow up being able to tell stories if you've never heard them? How do you grow up looking for a north? The most important thing for children when they're not in school and when they're at home is to turn around and find out the fact that there is a north, and that north is theirs, not their parents, not their neighbors, not their friends. They have to find their own north. What is a north? North is a magnetic field. The word north came about for a value system and for an ethic and a way to find home. How do you find your way home is the process of being lost and being found. Does somebody else find you? Or do you find your own way? When children grow up, they're confused. There's so many choices. There's so much information which is being driven at them, and they have so many choices that they're really confused as to what to do. So when a sailor was sailing on the sea and was marooned in a small ship, and he had lost his way because he didn't have a compass, how did he find his way? What did he look for? Look for the North Star, because there was nothing else that he could actually look at on a flat sea. That is why the word North has come about as an ethic and a value system. To be able to find your way out of confusion and find the way home. Home is what you want to achieve in your life. So children have to be encouraged to find a north, and that north is theirs. It might be completely contradictory to what the north of the parents are, because that's your north. Every individual in this room and in the world has their own north, if they ever find it. So both the school and the parents have to not just teach them geometry and geography and English literature. The most important lesson for a child is to be able to find his north. And when parents and schools get together to achieve that, then you don't have to worry about your child. Because your education is just a thappa. Finding the north is the real destiny of the child. Because once he finds his north, nothing in the world can make him deviate from that, because he knows his way home. He knows he's not lost. He knows he's not confused. And he's strong in his value system. So, what do you build in a child? The brand that you build, which is your child, first give him a name, then you give him an education, then you tell him stories about himself and about the person who you named him after, about the valor, the compassion, the generosity, and the selflessness of that particular person. And when you turn around and name your child something like Abhimanyu, do you also tell your child that at 21 he died? And that his life was only till 21, but what he did in 21 years, most people never do in 3 lifetimes. In terms of his north, his duty, his loyalty, his bravery, his compassion. So it's not the longevity, it's the quality of life and how you live it and what is the value system that you add to it. So when you tell them stories and when they're educated, they eventually have huge choices in their lives. When we take away the choice from them and make the choice ourselves, because we are so frustrated in our lives because we've not been able to achieve things that we wanted to dream about, that you turn around and force your children into trying to live through them. They have their own lives. They have their own north. Your north is not their north. They live in a different time. They live in the world of information. They're far better informed than you possibly can be. They're far more adept at technology, which is changing every day. People who are above 40 years are being challenged by technology because they can't change quickly enough to learn that technology. Children who are 15 years old, they do it subconsciously. I've seen kids holding a conversation with their parents and SMSing or WhatsApping their friends simultaneously with both hands. And I turn around and ask my son, what the hell are you doing? Are you listening to me? Or are you talking to somebody else? And he said, I'm doing both. So I said, I don't believe you. You're not paying attention to what I'm saying. So he puts his phone away and he said, what do you want me to do? Repeat the last 5 sentences verbatim. And he closes his eyes and he repeats exactly what I told him. So that is the capacity of your child. Don't underestimate them. Don't think that they don't have their own values and dreams. Remember one thing. The reason why most of us have become brands, if we become brands, is because we went against the system. The system does not create brands. The system wants everybody to be the same. You're a thappa, you come out of a factory. You look the same, you dress the same, you speak the same, and you get a certificate saying you're the same. But everybody is an individual. The whole idea of schools and parents getting together is to actually nurture that creativity and that individual and the storytelling capacity of every child, because his dreams are in his stories and what he dreams about. So let's not scare him from childhood by saying, "Soja nahi to bhauwa aake le jayega, ya buddha baba aake le jayega." Start from there. We scare the hell out of our children so that they stop dreaming. And if they do dream, they don't want to remember them because they're frustrated, because they can never follow the dream, because they're following somebody else's dream. They're following a system. We have created a system, which is a factory. We have not created individuals. Parents are just as guilty to be a part of that system. So when you look at your child and you want him to be an engineer, and he sits there drawing his whole life away, and he says, "I want to paint, I want to be an artist." You turn and say, "Kaisa kamayega ye? How is he going to earn a living painting, doodling pictures? How is he going to earn a living being a bad engineer?" So you want him to be an engineer, you force him into IIT, he drops out in his 4th year because he's just so frustrated. So allow your children to decide for themselves what they're passionate about and what they love, because you never factor in the factor of success as being happy. You are only factor in success by how much money you earn. I think that's wrong. I think the system has really failed us. Parents have really failed us by giving the wrong value system to children. By saying that your success is measured in how much money you make. What about how happy they're going to be? What about their passion? What about their dreams? What about the happiness factor? We never factor that in. We want to put him into some place which, according to you, you can turn around and say, "My child is successful, settle ho gaya." But what about the child? Are you happy? I don't think so. Because you've never been allowed to follow your dream, which might be totally different from what you're doing right now. So allow the children to follow what they best in their ability. And I believe that after class 12, every child in this country, or in this school at least, or people from this background, should be allowed 1 year off. Just to travel, to see the world, to go to different countries, see different cultures, see different attitudes, see what everybody else is doing in the world. Because then when they come back, they can tell you very honestly, "Dad, Mom, I don't want to be an engineer. I want to be a mochi. But I don't want to be an ordinary mochi. I want to be a Jimmy Choo." So when you turn around and say, "I want to be a mochi," you have a cardiac. Okay? When you turn around and say, "I want to be Jimmy Choo," the mother turns around and tells the father, "Shut up, I want a Jimmy Choo shoe." And you can't afford it. My son will. So the possibilities of dreaming are enormous. Our role as parents is to allow our children to fly, not to clip their wings, not to direct them into a direction which they are unhappy with. We have never factored in our lives so far the fact that, is my child going to be happy or is my child going to be rich? Are the two contradictory? Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. But if you teach your child to add value to whatever he does, if 2 and 2 is 22 and not 4 like in his maths class, and if that is what he lives by, that he is worth the value that he creates, the money is not going anywhere. It's only going to follow. Like Dr. Niranjan said, that the dream is to build a better building, to build the best, better than anything else. That's the dream. So is the value of the building, of the real estate versus the building, or the vision of the man who has created the building? I suggest all the parents who have not, at your generation, the book to read was Fountainhead by Ayn Rand. Okay, it created more architects in this country than any other single book that I know. In my college days, everybody used to carry one around under the armpit like a Bible. So if you haven't read it, I suggest you do, because it's all about dreaming. And it's all about following your dream. It's all about creating a value system in the child so that they never deviate from their north. Not your north, their north. So once they find their north, you have to let them go. You have to push them out so that they can fly. So all I want to say is to parents and to children is don't stop dreaming, because that is what life is all about. Because if you can't wake up the next day and say, I had a fabulous dream, I'm going to follow it, then what's the point of life? If your life is only meant to earn money and pay your EMIs and pay your debts and pay for your house and pay for your car and pay for everything else that everybody expects you to do, you're dead before you start. Your dreams are crashed. If you look at all your children today, and I look at my children and I'm really amazed, they don't want a house. They don't want to buy a car. They don't want to get married. They want to travel. And I said, you're earning a hell of a lot of money. What are you going to do with this? Why don't you invest it in something? He said, I'll invest it in whatever I want to invest it in, so that I get enough money back to be able to be free to travel. Traveling is the best education in the world. No education inside a classroom can ever give you the experience of actually traveling. So let your children fly, let them travel. Give them that opportunity to be what you could not be. Do not stick them into something that you want to do. Because they have their own destinies, they have their own lives. I'll end with a very small poem which somebody once showed me, which is so inspirational. It says, come to the edge, we said as parents and teachers. And the children said, no, it's too high. Come to the edge, we said. And they said, no, we'll fall. Come to the edge, we said. And very reluctantly they came. And we pushed. And they flew. Thank you.